Close your eyes for a moment. 1987, a private house somewhere in England. The four of you are sitting in a room. You know these people. You have known them for 16 years. You have been in every studio with them, on every stage, in every city. You know the sound of Brian May tuning his guitar before a take. You know the way Roger Taylor sits at a kit, the weight he puts on his left heel before a fill. You know the way John Deacon goes quiet when he is listening hard. And you know Freddie Mercury. You know him better than you know anyone. And Freddie Mercury is sitting across from you. And he has just finished saying something. And the room has gone completely quiet. Now open your eyes. Freddie Mercury looked at the three of them, at Brian, at Roger, at John, and he had just told them he was going to die. He had said it simply. He did not perform it. He did not build to it. He said the words, and he stopped. And the room went quiet. For 10 minutes, nobody spoke. And then Roger Taylor said one thing. And Brian May has spent 35 years not repeating what it was. April 1987, Freddie Mercury received the confirmed diagnosis, HIV positive. He was 40 years old. The specific medical fact of an HIV diagnosis in April 1987 was a death sentence delivered with a variable timeline, weeks, months, years, the specific uncertainty of a disease that medicine had not yet learned to manage. He did not tell the press. He did not tell the fans. He told the people inside the inner circle, first the people he lived with, the people who were with him every day. And then, when the time came, he told the band. He told them in the specific way of someone who had decided exactly how he was going to do this and who was not going to deviate from the plan. He did not cry. He did not perform the revelation. He sat down in a room with three people who had been in every room with him for 16 years, and he told them what the doctor had told him. And then he said what he needed to say. He said, "You probably know what I'm going to tell you." He said, "I don't want to talk about it." He said, "I just want to make music to the day I die." And then he stopped. And the room went quiet. Four people in a room. Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon, 16 years, of the same studios, the same stages, the same cities. A night at the opera, and jazz, and the game, and hot space, and the works, the fighting, and the creative friction, and the near breakup years, and the solo album years. And arriving, in 1987, at a version of Queen that was still intact, still making music, still the four of them. And now Freddie Mercury had just told them that the four of them had a finite amount of time left, not the band.Him. And therefore, the band.He told them, he stopped, the room went quiet, four people, 16 years, one sentence, silence. Four people, 16 years, one sentence, silence. Brian May has described the conversation in fragments across dozens of interviews. He has never described it in full. He has said, Freddie didn't want any fuss. He has said, he didn't want us to treat him differently. He has said, we just got on with it, which is what he asked us to do. He has said, there wasn't any self-pity. In all of these descriptions, in all of these fragments, the 10 minutes of silence is never directly described. Neither is what Roger Taylor said to break it. Brian May has circled the room many times. He has given the approach to it, the before and the after. He has never given the room itself, the 10 minutes, the four of them sitting in the specific silence of people who have just received information they cannot process and who are not going to perform the processing for each other. The silence was real. The 10 minutes were real. What Roger Taylor said was real, and Brian May has kept it, for 35 years. 10 minutes of silence between four people who had known each other for 16 years is not an empty 10 minutes. It is a full 10 minutes. Brian May, looking at Freddie and understanding in the specific way that a feared possibility becomes confirmed fact, that the voice at the center of everything they had built was going to stop. Roger Taylor sitting with the knowledge that the person across from him had just been handed a sentence, John Deacon the quietest. The one who always knew more than he let on, absorbing a piece of information he would carry for the rest of his life and never speak about publicly. Three people sitting with what Freddie Mercury had just given them. Freddie sitting with what he had just given them. The silence. The first 10 minutes of the last chapter. Roger Taylor broke the silence. This is the specific and unremarked fact that Brian May has acknowledged in one account and never elaborated. Not Brian May. Not John Deacon. Roger Taylor. This matters because of what it says about the room. Brian May is the talker. Brian May has been giving interviews about Freddie Mercury for 35 years. Brian May is the one who finds the words. Roger Taylor, who is also a talker, who is also articulate and warm and capable of eloquence. Roger Taylor spoke first. What Roger Taylor said has not been repeated by Brian May. What John Deacon said is not known. John Deacon has never spoken about this conversation at all. What Freddie Mercury said after Roger Taylor broke the silence is not known. What is known, Roger Taylor broke the silence. He said one thing, and whatever he said, it was the right thing, because the room moved forward. Because the conversation continued, because what Freddie had asked for, get on with business as usual, I don't want anything to change, became the agreement they all made. Someone had to say the first word. Roger Taylor said it. And Brian May has kept it. I don't want anything to change. This is the sentence Brian May has quoted most consistently when describing what Freddie Mercury said in the years after the diagnosis. Not the diagnosis conversation, specifically. The approach to the work. I don't want anything to change. Get on with business as usual. These are not the words of someone who has collapsed. They are not the words of someone asking for accommodation. They are the words of someone who has made a decision, who has looked at the space between now and the end, and has decided to fill it with the only thing that has always made sense. Music. The studio. The songs. And the three people who had been in every room with him for 16 years. Brian May has said there wasn't any self-pity. He has said it with the specific care of someone describing a quality they witnessed, and that they are still, decades later, trying to understand. Not performing strength. Being strong. Not performing the absence of complaint. Simply not complaining. I don't want anything to change. And the three of them, Brian May and Roger Taylor and John Deacon, did not change anything. They got on with it. They got on with it. The miracle. The innuendo sessions. The Made in Heaven recordings. The sessions that produced The Show Must Go On, and These Are the Days of Our Lives, and Mother Love, Freddie Mercury's last recorded vocal. Across 4 years, they got on with it. They went to Montreux. They went to Metropolis Studios in London. They scheduled the sessions around Freddie's treatment and his energy, and what his body was able to give on a given afternoon. They adapted. They did not announce that they were adapting. John Deacon showed up for every session. Roger Taylor found the words in the first 10 minutes of silence, and the band moved forward. Brian May wrote the songs and gave them to Freddie, and Freddie sang them. And across those 4 years, the sentence, I don't want anything to change, held. It held. Because the three of them honored it. Not perfectly. Not without difficulty. But consistently. The way you honor a request from someone you love who has told you what they need. You get on with it. You get on with it until there is nothing left to get on with. John Deacon said nothing in that room that has ever been recorded. This is consistent with everything known about his relationship with the things that matter most. He does not speak them. He shows up. He rebuilds the hitman without explaining why. He attends every innuendo session without explaining why. He says one word at the tribute concert, hello, and disappears backstage the moment it ends. He says 4 words in Paris in 1997 and does not come back for 30 years. Whatever John Deacon held in the room in 1987, if he said anything at all, is not in the public record. It is in John Deacon. In South London, in the ordinary street and the golf and the silence that has lasted since. He is still carrying it. He has never put it down. Brian.He has said everything around the conversation without describing the conversation. He has said, Freddie was incredibly brave. He has said, he carried it with such dignity. He has said, the way he dealt with it was to just go on working. And that was what we all did. He has said, we have enormous respect for the way he faced it. He has said, there was something almost beautiful about the way he just got on with things. These are the words of someone who witnessed something extraordinary and who has been trying across 35 years of interviews to give it the language it deserves. They are also the words of someone who has consistently kept the room itself, the 10 minutes, what Roger Taylor said. What John Deacon did not say, what Freddie Mercury looked like in the moment after he finished saying the words, kept all of that private. The room belongs to the four of them, or to the three who remain. Or to the one who has never spoken about it at all. Brian.He gives everything around it. He keeps the center. The 10 minutes. The silence. The first word. He keeps the center. The 10 minutes. The silence. The first word. And Roger Taylor, who spoke first, has not described what he said either. Roger Taylor has described the band's response to the diagnosis in the same general terms that Brian.He uses. They got on with it. Freddie wanted normality, and they gave him normality. The sessions continued. The music continued. Roger Taylor does not elaborate on the specific moment. He does not say, I was the first to speak. He does not say, I said this. He lets Brian.He carry the weight of the public record. And Brian.He carries it with the specific and sustained care of someone who understands that some things are not his to share. The 10 minutes of silence. What broke them. The words that moved four people forward from the worst room they had ever been in. Roger Taylor said one thing, and whatever it was enough. Because the music continued. Because the sessions began, because four people who had known each other for 16 years decided, in a room in 1987, to get on with it. And they did. 4 years. That is the distance between the room in 1987 and the morning of November 24th, 1991. 4 years of innuendo sessions in Montreux and the Made in Heaven recordings and The Show Must Go On, recorded in one take, because Freddie Mercury walked into the booth and found, from somewhere, what the song required. 4 years of Brian.He writing lyrics on scraps of paper, and Freddie singing each line 3 times in case they did not have another chance. 4 years of John Deacon showing up for every session without explanation. 4 years of Roger Taylor behind the drums, the same kit, the same fills, the same weight on the left heel. 4 years of getting on with it. 4 years of I don't want anything to change. And then November 24th, 1991. And then the silence that is different from the 10-minute silence. The silence that does not end. The silence that is now 35 years old. The silence in which Brian.He has been doing interviews. The silence in which Roger Taylor has been on stages. The silence in which John Deacon has been in South London. The silence that contains, at its center, a room in 1987 in 10 minutes and 1 word. The room in 1987 is gone. The house, where it happened wherever it was, is a house that contains no record of what occurred inside it. The 4 people who were in the room, one of them is gone. One of them does not speak. 2 of them have given 35 years of interviews and have consistently circled the 10 minutes without entering them. The room exists in the accounts the way the most important things exist, in the accounts as an absence. As the space where the most private part of the story lives. Brian.He has said everything around it. Roger Taylor has said everything around it. John Deacon has said nothing at all. And Freddie Mercury, who was the reason for the room and who sat in the silence for 10 minutes, the same as the others, who asked for the thing they all gave him, business as usual. Normality. The work Freddie Mercury is the one who knew, from the inside, what the room held. He sat in the silence. He waited. Roger Taylor spoke. And Freddie Mercury heard the first word. And the room moved forward. And 4 years of music followed. And then everything else. And then everything else. Brian May has said, losing him was like losing a brother. He has said it consistently, not metaphorically, like a brother. The specific and irreplaceable quality of a 16-year relationship in which two people have been in every room together and have built something that neither of them could have built alone. Losing that person is not the loss of a colleague or a collaborator. It is the loss of the specific frequency of the world when that person is in it. The 10 minutes of silence in 1987 was not the grief. The grief came later. The 10 minutes was the moment before the grief, the moment of receiving the information and sitting with it in the presence of the person who had just given it. 4 people, 16 years, 1 sentence, 10 minutes, 1 word, Roger Taylor said it. Brian May heard it. John Deacon was in the room. Freddie Mercury waited, and the work continued, and the music continued, and 35 years have passed since the 10 minutes. And Brian May still has not said what Roger Taylor said, and Roger Taylor has not said it either. And John Deacon, in South London, still saying nothing, as he always has. 1987, a private room, 4 people. Freddie Mercury said he was dying. He said, I don't want anything to change. He said, get on with business as usual. He said, I just want to make music to the day I die. And then he stopped. And the room went quiet. Brian May did not speak. John Deacon did not speak. Roger Taylor did not speak. 10 minutes. Nobody spoke. And then Roger Taylor said one thing. Brian May heard it. John Deacon heard it. Freddie Mercury heard it. And the room moved forward. 4 years of music followed. The miracle. Innuendo. Made in heaven. The show must go on. Mother Love. The last session. November 24th, 1991. And then the silence that doesn't end. Brian May has never said what Roger Taylor said. Roger Taylor has never repeated it. John Deacon has never spoken about the room. The 10 minutes. Still in the room. Still in the 3 people who were there. 2 of them talking. 1 of them not. The first word Roger Taylor said still with Brian May. Where it has been since 1987. Where it will stay.